They didn't realize when they came for you, they were picking a fight with the current of the universe itself. And now, the current is crashing through everything they built. They should have backed off when the silence got heavy. They should have taken the hint when the air shifted, but they didn't. They kept pushing, kept provoking, kept trying to drag your energy into chaos. And now, everything they did is looping back like a boomerang they never thought they'd have to catch. The ones who laughed at your silence are now crying in theirs. The same mouths that lied about you are stuck on mute. They thought they were just messing with a person, but they were pulling the tail of something far bigger than them. And now they're getting dragged by forces they can't control. If this is shaking something in your spirit, pause and hit like. Subscribe if you're walking in that chosen energy. When you do that, you help this message get in front of more chosen ones. It signals to the platform that this message matters, and right now, the right ones need to hear it. You're not just watching, you're amplifying a ripple that's already shaking systems. Now, listen closely. Chosen one, let's set this straight. They weren't fighting you. They were fighting the laws of the universe, and they didn't even know it. You weren't reacting. You were resonating. You weren't broken. You were recalibrating. And while they thought they were targeting you, they were actually pulling against the very balance that keeps everything in check. That's why their lives are folding in on themselves. That's why their masks are slipping. Because alignment doesn't lose. And you were aligned before it was cool. You felt the shift before it made headlines. You walked away before the collapse. And now they're stuck in it. But here's where we need to talk. Not about them, but about you. Because while they were busy doubting your power, you were doubting it too. Let's not sugarcoat that. You've questioned your light more than once. You've asked yourself, was it me? Did I overreact? Am I just sensitive? You've begged for signs that you weren't crazy, not because you didn't know the truth, but because you were surrounded by people pretending they couldn't feel it. Stop doing that to yourself. Stop shrinking just because they were too scared to grow. Your energy wasn't the problem. It was the pressure they couldn't handle. You weren't isolated because you were off. You were isolated because you were ahead. The universe doesn't leave its aligned ones exposed. It pulls them back while the noise plays itself out. You thought your silence was punishment, but it was insulation. It was preparation. You were never alone. You were being positioned. While they were playing checkers with egos and manipulation, the universe was moving in silence, setting the board. And now, the pieces are falling exactly how you felt they would. Here's the truth. Everybody involved is feeling the backlash now. The liars, the enablers, the ones who clapped for your pain behind closed doors. They didn't just betray a person. They went against the pull of the universe. And the universe doesn't forget who it moves for. That's what's haunting them now. Not just that you're still standing, but that you're standing while everything they built is collapsing under the weight of their own actions. So stand in that, not with arrogance, but with awareness. They thought you were the weak link, but you were the signal. They thought they could handle the fallout, but they didn't realize the fallout was you leaving. And now, the karma they unleashed is right on time, because you didn't ask for war, but they wouldn't let you walk in peace. And now they wish they had. So before we break this all the way down, take a second. If this message is hitting that part of you that always knew, drop the number 77 in the comments. That number isn't just a symbol, It's a signal that you feel what's unfolding. Because if you've ever been the one they targeted, misunderstood, pushed out, and now you're watching karma circle the block, this is your message. This isn't random. This is the part they hoped you wouldn't survive. And now, it's the part you rise through. And now, let's get into it, step by step. Stay locked in. The deeper we go, the louder the truth gets. Number 1. They poked the quiet one and woke up the whole system. They thought you were an easy target. Turns out you were the tripwire the universe hid in plain sight. They didn't just mess with you, they tampered with the balance. They took shots at someone the universe had already stamped with purpose. And now, it's not just karma visiting, it's everything they tried to manipulate, crashing down on their heads like bricks from a crumbling lie. You were silent, not soft. You were still, not weak. And now the silence is gone, and all that's left is the sound of their own consequences knocking at the door. They thought they were just playing with your emotions, slandering your name, isolating you, watching with smug grins while you spiraled in confusion and self-doubt. But they weren't just attacking a person. They were pulling against the current of alignment. And now that current is swinging back like a snapped cord. And they're the ones tangled in it. See, chosen ones aren't just people. They're signals. And when someone tries to harm a signal, the system around it recalibrates. That recalibration, it's happening now, and it's merciless. You ever wonder why things went quiet after the chaos they caused? That wasn't the end. That was the wind pulling back before the storm hit. They thought they got away with it. They thought they won. But the only thing they won was front row seats to the backlash. They didn't realize how protected you really were, not by people, not by noise, but by the architecture of universal timing itself. You don't have to raise your voice when the system you're aligned with shouts for you. And chosen one, let's be real, you questioned it. You looked in the mirror and wondered if you imagined it all. You sat in silence, convinced maybe you overreacted, maybe they were right, maybe you were just too sensitive. That doubt didn't come from truth. It came from the weight of standing alone while the system silently watched it all unfold. But the system was never late. It was gathering receipts. And now, it's cashing every one of them in with interest. You were never just a casualty in their drama. You were the final straw they didn't know they were pulling. You were the shift, and the moment they moved against you, not once, but repeatedly, arrogantly, publicly, they triggered a chain reaction they can't outrun. They thought you were the prey, but you were the warning shot. And now, everything they've tried to build off your pain is collapsing under its own false weight. They didn't realize that when a chosen one is attacked, the universe doesn't react emotionally. It reacts precisely. It watches, it waits, and when the line is crossed, it realigns everything. The people they convinced to turn against you, they're turning on each other now. The fake peace they built, cracking, the false narratives they spun, unraveling in full view. And worst of all, they're haunted, not just by what they did, but by how calm you've stayed while everything falls apart. That calmness, that was never weakness. That was the quiet before the echo hit. You didn't have to clap back. The system clapped for you. You didn't have to force an ending. The alignment wrote one you couldn't have even imagined. And now, the ones who laughed at your pain, who fed off your doubt, who stayed silent while you were drowning. They're the ones scrambling for air while their comfort zones collapse. Let them feel it. Every moment, every misstep, every consequence you prayed for justice over. Because this isn't pettiness, it's precision. This isn't revenge, it's rhythm. You were attacked, and the universe is restoring equilibrium in full force. Not with fireworks, with force, quiet, unstoppable, exact. And if you still have any part of you that's wondering, why me? Here's the answer. Because you could hold what would have broken them. Because you could carry the weight they couldn't handle. Because you were built for it, and they were bluffing. They wore their power like a costume. You wore yours like armor. That's why they hate your silence, because it keeps echoing in their losses. So stand up in this moment. Own your isolation as the mark of someone the system had to protect. Wear your endurance like proof. You didn't lose, you were pulled back. And now they're learning what happens when they target the wrong one. They didn't just poke the quiet one. They triggered the whole system. And now the system is answering back. Number 2, they laughed at the warning. Now they're crying through the wreckage. They turned your clarity into a punchline. Now the punchline is dragging their whole life down. They mocked you. Let's not pretend they didn't. They side-eyed you in rooms you still held together. They made group chats about your truth. They used your insight like a toy, twisted it, joked about it, downplayed it. All while pretending to smile to your face. Every eye roll, every sarcastic laugh, every "you're overthinking it" is now ringing in their ears louder than ever. Because the exact things they dismissed are the same ones now ripping their reality apart. They thought your warning was drama. They thought your awareness was fear-mongering. They thought your insight made you unstable. But now they're the ones losing sleep, watching everything you spoke on play out like a film they never auditioned for. And the plot twist is brutal. You weren't dramatic. You were accurate. They laughed because your clarity threatened their comfort. They ridiculed it because they didn't want to look in the mirror. It forced them to face. Let's be clear. You didn't wish this on them. You didn't send anything toward them. You simply saw it coming, and that's what haunts them the most. Because deep down, even as they were mocking you, part of them knew you were right. They just didn't have the courage to say it out loud. And instead of preparing, instead of taking the message seriously, they doubled down on arrogance. They called your intuition crazy. They labeled your alignment as ego. And now they're standing in the wreckage, choking on every word they threw at you like daggers. The joke stopped being funny the second the consequences became visible. Now, the same people who laughed at your voice are begging for clarity. The ones who made jokes are living inside the very chaos they swore would never come. They're not laughing anymore. They're unraveling, and they don't know how to process it because for so long, you were the one they believed would fall apart first. You were the unstable one, the overreactor, the alarmist. But here you are, solid, still, steady, and they're the ones spiraling under the weight of the same truth you tried to make them see early. That's the thing about being chosen. Your warning doesn't always land when you speak it, but it never misses. It just waits. And while they were busy performing peace, you were reading the undercurrents. You saw the cracks behind the fake smiles, the politics behind the kindness, the tension no one wanted to admit. was growing louder by the day. And you didn't point it out to be superior. You spoke up to prevent the storm. But they didn't want prevention. They wanted denial. And now the cost of that denial is dragging them under. They thought your words were just noise. But noise doesn't shake foundations. Truth does. And when truth is laughed at long enough, it stops asking to be heard. It simply begins to happen. And now they're being introduced to a version of reality that doesn't care about how loud they laughed, only how deep they lied. You never needed to curse them. They cursed themselves when they touched what the universe was guarding. When they tried to discredit someone aligned with natural balance, someone that energy itself was standing behind. They weren't just gossiping. They were interfering with forces that move far beyond their understanding. And now those forces are folding back on them. This is what happens when people mistake silence for weakness and warnings for weakness. This is what happens when people try to sabotage a signal instead of honoring it. And don't think they don't remember every word you said. They do. That's the part that gnaws at them the most. They remember the way you paused, the way your energy shifted, the way you predicted the patterns before anyone admitted they existed. They remember the tension in your voice, the precision in your eyes, and how every word you dropped was dismissed like fiction until it became fact. Now, the very phrases they laughed at are playing in their minds like alarms they can't turn off. The words they mocked are now the only things making sense. And you don't even have to say, "I told you so." You've moved on. You're focused. You're building. You're aligning. And they're watching from behind the smoke of their own wreckage, wishing they had listened, regretting that they made you a target when you were the only one tuned into what was coming. But chosen one, let's check something real quick. You've got to stop feeling guilty for being right. You've got to stop shrinking your awareness just because it made others uncomfortable. You've got to stop second-guessing yourself every time someone calls you intense, serious, or too much. They didn't mock you because you were wrong. They mocked you because you made the mask slip, and they weren't ready to see what was underneath. This isn't the time to mourn who didn't listen. This is the time to own your alignment like the signal it always was. Because if there's one thing this moment is proving, it's that the universe doesn't send warnings without reason. And it never picks a vessel by accident. You were the one. You were early. You were accurate. You were dismissed. And now, you are the echo haunting every exposed lie they tried to protect. Let them cry. Let them fumble. Let them feel the weight of their denial. Not because you're petty, but because they earned every consequence through their own arrogance. This isn't punishment. It's math, cause and effect. Input meets output. And now, the input they sent out wrapped in laughter is coming back wrapped in silence. So walk with that. Not in revenge, but in confirmation. They laughed, they pointed, they mocked. But now, they're crying through the wreckage you tried to warn them about. And the only thing louder than their regret is the silence you left behind. Number 3, karma's not late, it's just dressing for the funeral. They thought silence meant safety, but karma was just taking its time, choosing the perfect moment to drag their lies into the light. They thought they won, thought your silence was surrender, thought walking away meant you gave up. But the truth is, you didn't walk away, you stepped aside. You didn't fold. You just stopped warning people who refused to listen. And while they were celebrating your absence, karma was backstage, tightening its gloves. Quiet, focused, precise. Now, it's showtime. See, karma never runs on your schedule. It doesn't operate off emotion. It doesn't show up in a rage or crash down in chaos for the sake of spectacle. Karma shows up when the mask has been worn so long, it's fused with their identity. When the lie has gotten so loud, it drowns out reason. When the people who tried to hurt you finally believe they got away with it, that's when karma kicks in. Not rushed, not panicked, just patient and lethal. They didn't get away with anything. The delay wasn't protection, it was preparation. The space between their betrayal and their consequence wasn't silence. It was the universe laying out the blueprint for the collapse. And now, it's falling into place, in full view, slowly, deliberately, brutally. You ever seen someone dancing like nothing's wrong while the building's on fire? That's what it's like watching them now. They were partying on a time bomb, drinking off your pain, high-fiving behind your back, like the damage they caused wouldn't echo. They had time to make it right, time to clean up what they smeared. But they didn't. They took your silence for weakness, your stillness for defeat. And now the explosion they thought would never come is shaking everything they touched. Let's be honest. You saw the signs. You felt that itch in your gut that said, this isn't over. That tension in your chest wasn't paranoia. It was awareness. You weren't waiting for revenge. You were waiting for alignment. And alignment takes time. While they were spinning narratives, the truth was tightening the loop. While they were stacking lies, the universe was subtracting their protection. And now the calculation is complete. And the only thing left is consequence. Understand this. Karma is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't knock on the door. It walks in. And when it enters, it doesn't ask for explanation. It brings receipts. It doesn't yell. It reveals. The same people who said it's not that deep are now drowning in the depth. The same ones who rolled their eyes are now blinking through smoke, trying to figure out when the fire started. But you know, you always knew. And you never had to get even. That's not your lane. The universe does its own accounting, and it doesn't forget a decimal. It doesn't miss a name. You didn't need revenge. You were the warning. Your silence was the signal, the calm before the consequences. And now you're the one watching it all unfold, not out of bitterness, but out of confirmation. This is what happens when people confuse delay with escape. They thought karma was running late, but it wasn't late. It was just dressing for the funeral, suited in timing, polished with exposure, carrying a guest list full of enablers, instigators, manipulators, every one of them now facing the result of their own choices. You didn't bury them, they buried themselves. You just stopped digging their graves for them. And now they're realizing the silence you left behind wasn't the end of the story. It was the start of the reckoning. Because when karma walks in, dressed in truth, nobody claps, nobody parties, nobody mocks. They panic, they retreat, they crumble. That's what's happening now. And chosen one, let this remind you, stop doubting the power of your walk. You thought you lost when you walked away. You didn't. You were moved out of the blast radius. The universe didn't forget what they did. It just refused to let it happen to you again. You were aligned, not abandoned. You were elevated, not excluded. And what's playing out now is the proof of what you sensed all along. So let them act confused. Let them scramble. Let them pretend they don't know why everything is falling apart. You don't have to explain anything. Your only job now is to stay clear, stay focused. Keep your energy clean and your path sharp. They're reaping what they planted. And the scariest part for them, it's not even over yet. Karma didn't miss them. It just showed up in style. Number 4. They wanted you to break. Now they're the ones cracking. They built a show around your pain. Now they're the main act in their own collapse. They didn't just hurt you by accident. Let's stop pretending. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't immaturity. This wasn't just people doing their best. No, this was targeted, strategic, calculated. They made you a project, a topic, a joke. They tried to dismantle you piece by piece, emotionally, mentally, socially. They threw everything at you and hoped you'd self-destruct so they could say, "See, we were right about them all along." They wanted to be there for the crash, front row, popcorn in hand. But here's the twist they never saw coming. You never broke. And now they're the ones unraveling under the weight of their own games. You were supposed to be the one who snapped. That's the part that's haunting them now. You were supposed to crack under the pressure they so carefully applied. You were supposed to spiral, to fold, to disappear in shame. But you didn't. You held the line, quietly, brutally, with a kind of grace they mistook for weakness. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't clap back. You let them tell their stories. You let them laugh. You let them build their whole image off your silence. And now that silence is breaking them. They're walking on glass now, barefoot, because every lie they told, every move they made to isolate or damage you, is now showing up in their life as sharp consequences. The relationships they tried to protect with lies, shaky. The status they held onto by discrediting you, crumbling. The image they maintained by smearing your name, shattered. They're flinching at shadows because everything they built on your destruction is now threatening them. The trap they set wasn't for you. It was under them the whole time. Let's go deeper. They weren't just trying to hurt your feelings. They wanted your confidence shattered. They wanted your name in people's mouths for all the wrong reasons. They tried to make you radioactive, untouchable, whispered behind closed doors, faked concern in public, and then stood by pretending they weren't involved while the smear campaign ran on autopilot. But here's what they never calculated. You were built for pressure. You were sculpted in silence. And while they plotted in circles, the universe was sharpening you in solitude. Now they're cracking, slowly, publicly, loudly. And the worst part for them, no one's buying their victim act. Because the same way they used your pain as entertainment, people are watching them unravel. And this time, there's no one left to scapegoat. You're gone, unbothered, unavailable, elevated. You outgrew the stage they tried to trap you on. And chosen one, let's speak to your doubt for a moment, because in that season, you did feel like breaking. Don't lie to yourself. You were exhausted. You second-guessed your own perception. You questioned your own energy. And the hardest part, you wondered if maybe they were right. You looked around and thought, why me? Why do I always feel what no one else is willing to say? But here's what you didn't see at the time. The more they tried to break you, the more proof the universe gathered. You weren't just surviving, You were building a wall of evidence that's now collapsing their house of cards. They didn't realize that trying to dismantle someone aligned with truth is like throwing rocks at a force field. The impact bounces back harder every time. The pressure didn't make you fall apart. It made you sharper, clearer, lighter. While they added weight to their karma, you were shedding everything that didn't belong to your future. They spent energy trying to damage what they didn't understand, and now their own stability is leaking through the cracks. They hate that you're calm. That's what's driving them mad. You're not angry, you're not bitter, you're not looking back, and the silence they once celebrated is now cutting through their conscience like a blade. Because you are not broken. You're proof. You're walking evidence that alignment can't be undone by manipulation. That character outlasts slander. That energy never lies, even when people do. They expected to be celebrating your downfall. Instead, they're trying to patch up their own. And guess what? The cracks are too deep. The pressure they built for you is now swallowing them. You were supposed to fall, but instead you became the shift, the recalibration, the warning shot. And now the system they weaponized is turning on them piece by piece. Let this be a reminder. Never mourn the rooms you were pushed out of. The people who tried to break you couldn't even hold themselves together. You didn't lose anything. You were preserved. You were removed before the collapse because you weren't meant to break with them. You were meant to witness what happens when intention catches up to behavior. And that's exactly what's unfolding. They wanted you broken. Now they're the ones holding the pieces and realizing none of them fit anymore. Number 5. The thought of you being chosen haunts them at night. You didn't destroy them, your survival did. There's something they'll never admit out loud. You haunt them, not because you chased revenge, not because you exposed them, but because you didn't fold. They expected the pressure to break you. They expected the silence to suffocate you. They expected your isolation to erase you. But when you refused to collapse, you did something far worse than retaliate. You endured. And that's what eats at them now. Your existence is the mirror they can't escape. And every time they try to forget you, life finds a way to remind them. They'll never tell the truth. Not to you, not to anyone else. But your resilience disrupted them more than anything you could have said. You were supposed to disappear. Instead, you rose, quietly, intentionally, without needing their permission, their recognition, or their applause. You didn't win by fighting back. You won by refusing to become what they wanted you to be. Broken, bitter, begging to be seen. You disappeared from their drama and reappeared in your alignment. And now the silence they once laughed at is louder than anything they've built. They can't figure it out. You didn't have the credentials. You didn't have the network. You didn't have the title, the status, or the validation. But still, here you are, elevated, grounded, unbothered, thriving in places they told everyone you'd never make it to. Because you didn't move by the rules they lived by. You moved by alignment. You weren't powered by recognition. You were powered by conviction. You didn't chase credibility. You became the credibility. That's the nightmare they live with now. You were the one they counted out. And now your name sits in the silence of their own collapse. They tried to bury you with whispers. Now they flinch every time your presence enters the room. Because chosen ones don't seek revenge, they become the consequence. You don't scream for attention. Your energy walks in and says what your voice doesn't need to. You were never the loudest, but now your silence is what echoes in their nervous thoughts. It's what shows up in the moments they pretend they're fine. Your strength, the quiet, measured, undeniable kind, has become their worst memory. And the more they realize they couldn't stop you, the more they remember what they did to try. That's the part they can't run from, because nothing stings like realizing the one you tried to destroy was chosen the entire time. Let's talk to you, chosen one, because you forgot for a second who you are. You spent too long wondering why they didn't support you, why the crowd didn't clap, why your warning fell flat. You assumed their rejection meant you were off path. You let the silence get into your head. You mistook absence for abandonment. You started shrinking your presence just to keep the peace they never deserved to have around you. So, let's be real. Stop doubting your calling because the crowd didn't cheer. Your glow was never for entertainment. It was meant to make illusions shake. You weren't supposed to be popular. You were supposed to be disruptive. You weren't sent to blend in. You were sent to expose what couldn't stay hidden once your light showed up. And no, they didn't thank you. No, they didn't validate you. But they felt you, and they still do. That's why their smiles crack when they hear your name. That's why their tone shifts when your truth gets brought up. Because they're not just haunted by what you said. They're haunted by how right you were to say it. See, people don't fear being called out. They fear being seen. And you saw them. You saw past the polished performances, the curated personas, the fake peace and rehearsed empathy. You saw the cracks. You felt the tension. You picked up on what no one else wanted to name. And that made you dangerous, not because you were loud, but because you were clear. And now they're learning. Clarity is the loudest force in the room when lies have been running the show too long. So if you're still wondering why they treated you like a threat, it's because you were. Not a threat to peace, but a threat to pretense. Not a danger to the system, a disruption to the illusion. And when someone is aligned with truth, that alignment doesn't just shift their path, it exposes everyone else's imbalance. That's your power. That's what they underestimated. That's what haunts them when the performance stops and the silence returns. Because no matter how much they try to outrun it, they'll always remember what you carried. And it wasn't anger. It wasn't ego, it was alignment, and alignment will always outlast manipulation. You don't have to remind them of anything. Your peace is the proof. Your focus is the fallout. Your evolution is the echo. Let them sit in that. Let them feel it. Let the weight of what they did press down on them every time your name rises in a room they once thought you'd never belong in. You were chosen. And no, that's not a title. It's a responsibility. It's not a crown. It's a calling. And when you carry it correctly, you won't have to chase retribution. You become the reminder. You didn't haunt them with vengeance. You haunt them by existing. And that's louder than anything they ever said. Number 6. Their masks are melting, and you're the heat they blamed. They built entire identities out of illusion, and now they're scorched by the same spotlight they tried to keep you out of. Let's cut to the truth. They were never real. The loyalty was fake. The support was shallow. The smiles were weapons dressed as kindness. And you didn't start the fire. You just walked in carrying light. You didn't have to expose anyone. The truth they were trying to hide couldn't survive the heat of your presence. And now, their masks are slipping. Their reputations are dripping like wax under pressure. The personas they polished for years are folding in on themselves, and you're the one they're trying to blame for the meltdown. But let's be clear, you weren't the fire. You were the reflection. You didn't walk into those rooms looking to destroy. You walked in carrying clarity, and that clarity made the masks itch. You asked real questions. You moved with real energy. You lived by something deeper than popularity or applause. And when the ones around you realized they couldn't control, silence, or manipulate you, they panicked. Because someone like you doesn't just see through people. You expose what they've been hiding from themselves. So what did they do? They pointed fingers. They flipped the narrative. They tried to make you the villain. They said you were too intense, that you were reading too much into things, that you were always looking for drama. But they knew. Deep down, they knew. They just couldn't admit it. Because admitting it would mean admitting the performance was fake the whole time. And now that the heat is up, now that the environment is demanding truth, those wax faces are sliding off. You were the heat they blamed, but you were just the sun rising. They were the ones trying to hold on to midnight like it was a personality. The manipulators, the opportunists, the back-channel schemers. They operated best in shadows. You brought light, not because you wanted to destroy anything, but because that's what truth does. It shows, and anything built on illusion burns when the light gets strong enough. And now they're burning, not because you tried to ruin them, but because the facade finally ran out of glue. They spent more time constructing a version of themselves for the public than actually being real behind closed doors. And now, the roles they rehearsed so well are slipping out of alignment, and people are finally asking the questions they hoped would never surface. That pressure they placed on your shoulders, it's on theirs now, and they're cracking under it. But chosen one, don't think for a second this is random. This is response. This is what happens when you carry something real in a space that's been built on fraud. This is the price of alignment. Your presence naturally brings contrast, and people who have something to hide will always label that contrast as conflict. You weren't bringing chaos, you were just removing the curtain, and they couldn't handle what was underneath. They built their peace on performance. You built yours on principles, and when the performance began to fall apart, which it always does, they needed someone to blame. And who better than the one person who never bought into the show? Who better than the one who stayed silent but present? Who better than the one they couldn't control? That's what they hated most. Not your truth, your independence, your inability to be manipulated, your refusal to perform. You didn't play the game, so they tried to delete the player. But now the game is falling apart, and your name is the only one not attached to the lies. And the irony? Now they're the ones trying to play quiet. They've gone silent, hoping the fire passes, but it won't. Because it was never about noise. It was about truth. And truth has a way of showing up at the worst time for people who depended on lies. The longer they try to hold the mask in place, the more obvious it becomes that something's not right. And people are watching, listening, remembering. The questions you asked, they're echoing now, and nobody can ignore them anymore. Let this be a reminder. You don't need to speak louder. You just need to stay aligned. The truth is doing the heavy lifting for you. The masks are melting all on their own. Your job was never to destroy anything. Your job was to carry the kind of energy that doesn't bend just to make others comfortable. And now the discomfort is speaking louder than your silence ever could. So let them scramble, let them sweat, let them keep trying to rearrange the narrative while the real one plays out for all to see. You don't have to defend yourself. You were the defense, and now they're realizing too late. The heat they blamed you for, that was just the beginning. They wore wax faces in a world that was always going to demand fire. And now the sun is up. And the truth, it's blistering. Number 7. They gathered against you and still lost the battle. They gathered against you and still lost the battle they started. They thought numbers could defeat alignment. Now they're learning math doesn't scare destiny. They really thought numbers made them powerful. They thought because there were more of them, they had the upper hand. They thought whispers, gossip, groupthink, and crowd pressure would be enough to break you down, corner you, and push you out. But they forgot one thing. You weren't standing alone. You were standing aligned. And alignment beats popularity every time. They mistook noise for power, thought if enough people clapped for the lie, it would become truth. But truth doesn't need applause. It just needs time. And now that time is up. The same crowd that tried to bury you is now fractured, crumbling under its own weight. Because they didn't realize they weren't just gathering against you. They were rallying against a system they didn't understand. You weren't the enemy. You were the mirror. You weren't the threat. You were the standard. And instead of leveling up, they tried to tear you down. Let them keep counting heads, because destiny doesn't do math. The universe doesn't check polls before it moves. And you were built to stand out. That's why they couldn't absorb you into their fake unity. You were never designed to blend. You were meant to break patterns. And break them you did. Now look at them. All that alliance, all that noise, all that fake unity built on ego and insecurity. It's collapsing because the power wasn't in their numbers. It was always in your alignment. And one aligned soul walking in truth is louder than 1,000 mouths spitting lies. They started the battle. They picked the fight. But they didn't do the math on who they were messing with. And now they're losing the war they launched, miserably. Next time they'll remember, it's never about how many are with you. It's about what's backing you. And you were backed by something they couldn't manipulate. Truth. And truth never loses. Number 8. Let karma cook. You don't have to watch. Let karma cook. You don't have to watch. You're not missing the show. You are the reason it started. Let them fall. Let them scramble. Let them sit in the silence they swore you deserved. You don't need a front row seat to their unraveling. Why? Because you've already seen enough. You've felt every betrayal, every whisper, every fake handshake. And now that karma's at their door, don't waste your energy looking back. You've outgrown the need to be proven right. Your worth isn't on trial anymore. It's already been confirmed by the alignment that kept you standing while they plotted your collapse. You didn't ask for revenge. You asked for peace. And this is peace. Not the soft kind, but the sharp kind, the kind that comes when you no longer feel the urge to clap back, clear your name, or be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. That chapter is closed. Now let karma do what your voice already warned them about. Let it cook, let it simmer, let it burn slow and loud. But you don't have to watch. Your focus is too expensive to waste on chaos you already walked away from. Let the timing play out. Let the silence scream louder than your explanations ever could. Stay aligned, stay clear, stay focused. They wanted you to be bitter, but you're too busy building. They wanted you to lose yourself, proving a point, but the universe already made it for you. Let them feel the weight of your absence. Let karma finish what they started. You don't need to witness the fallout. You're the reason it exists. Number 9, they should have left you alone. Now, the universe won't leave them alone. They weren't fighting you. They were fighting universal order wearing your name. This is the part they never saw coming, the part where silence screams, where the energy they mocked starts moving through their lives like a storm with no off switch. They should have walked past you. They should have minded their business when the shift in your spirit told them to back off. But no, they kept coming, kept poking, kept pressing, and now, the very force they tried to sabotage is unraveling everything they built. They threw stones at a soul carrying fire, not fire for destruction, fire for clarity, for purification, for truth, but they didn't recognize it. They saw someone quiet and thought you were weak. They saw someone different and assumed you were confused. They didn't realize what they were really doing, interfering with something they couldn't comprehend. You weren't just walking through their space, you were carrying the energy of correction, the kind that doesn't shout, the kind that shifts entire rooms just by showing up. And now that fire they tried to extinguish, it's in their house, it's in their relationships, in their peace, in their mind. They thought they were just pushing a person, but they pushed against the pull of alignment. They tried to cancel a frequency that didn't belong to them, and the universe doesn't take that lightly. When someone touches what's protected, the system doesn't react immediately, but when it does, it doesn't miss. So now it's full circle, and the chaos they sent has come back home. You don't have to say a word. Their consequences are speaking for you. You didn't start this war, but the moment they made you the target, they invited a force they weren't built to fight. And now the universe won't leave them alone, because they couldn't leave you alone. And just like that, full circle, everything they thought they buried is rising, and everything you carried in silence is now speaking for itself. Chosen one, you didn't just survive, you outlasted the storm they created. Let that be your closure. Let that be your confirmation. If this message hit your spirit, like this video, subscribe to stay locked in, and drop the number 77 in the comments if you're done explaining yourself and letting karma speak. Share this with someone who's walking through the fire, so they know they're not crazy. They're chosen, and their silence still echoes.